Hello, welcome to Watch This Now. My name is Nick, and I'm here to tell you about my Halloween watch list from this year, just to give you some last-minute recommendations in case you are looking for something to watch on Halloween. I have watched a whole bunch of horror films, and this is not everything, but this is one from each day that I watched that I decided to make a note of and put on this list. So I'm just going to run through it, give you some suggestions, and maybe there's something here that you haven't seen before. Okay, so on the first I started out with Hell House LLC. I did a Shutter Day review of this, so you should definitely go check that out. Next, I watched Beelzebub, a film I was planning on doing a Shutter Day review for until I watched Hell House LLC, and I flipped those because Beelzebub I thought was good, but it definitely was not as good as that other title. It just didn't work for me as well, and ultimately I would say it's because it was just very religious based, and that just doesn't hit as hard with me with that demonic stuff. I don't care. It just isn't that scary to me, so I didn't find it to be that scary, but it is a well-made film, and if you like demonic horror, you should check it out, although I do have to warn you that it is very, timely and graphic. Next is Body Bags, a horror anthology made mostly by John Carpenter, but with the help of Tobe Hooper, and I don't know how, I must have heard about this a while ago and just forgot about it, but I popped up on Shudder and I was like, what? Oh my god, this movie exists? Like most anthologies, there's like one good story and that's it, and it's the first one, I'd say, in this one, the chick at the gas station. It's fine, I don't know, if you want to watch it, you can. Next is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, the most underrated movie ever. I made my friends watch this because it was on Amazon Prime, and it's hilarious. I love this movie. This is one of the best horror comedies, I think. It's very, 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 very more comedy, but just in Elvira's world, and I really liked that. I would have liked some more horror, and it's not the most well-made movie ever, of course not, but it's really fucking funny. Next is Tales of Halloween, another anthology, and one that I had heard of and had heard was pretty good, but just didn't really care because a lot of anthologies aren't that great. But I'm really coming around to them this year. I've been watching a bunch, actually. I really liked Tales of Halloween. I thought that it was really enjoyable. I thought several of the stories were good. It's a good Halloween watch. You should check it out. One that you probably might want to skip, but hey, I watched it anyway, is Trick or Treats, one of the really bad slashers from the early 80s slasher craze, which is my sweet spot. I love like all of them, which is probably why I had fun with this movie. It is so horrible, but you know, with a bottle or two of wine, it's a fun watch. Next is Halloween classic Hocus Pocus. Duh, another one I watched with friends. It was early in the month, and I'm like, I gotta get Hocus Pocus in, you know, before it's too late. You know about Hocus Pocus. What do I even have to say? It's a Halloween favorite. It's a classic. I love it. And I love this classic poster. I want it on my wall. The Innocents is a Halloween staple for me. I think this is probably one of the best classic haunted house horror films. If you haven't seen it, you probably have seen an iteration of it because this is based off of the Henry James short story, The Turn of the Screw, which we're getting a new adaptation of next year with The Turning. So if you want to get the story down, definitely check out The Innocents. I think it holds up. It's really spooky. It's a good time. Next up is one of many sequels I watched. I watched a lot of like number twos, like the very direct sequel. So here we go. Poltergeist 2. Poltergeist is a fun movie, but I thought, hey, I don't think I've seen the second one since I was a kid, so I should check this out. Watched it, and it's very poltergeisty. I liked it. It's a fun little watch. It's a spooky, ghostly, kind of kid-friendly horror film. I enjoy that every now and then, especially around Halloween. Then I saw The Addams Family, the new animated Addams Family movie. You know, I've got a review up for it. Another haunted house Halloween staple is the original The Haunting, which I really like, even though it's long and slow and not that scary. It's one that I come back to every October, and I find myself really enjoying it every time that I am watching it. It's not one you think about a whole lot, but when the time comes around, I think The Haunting is worth your while. Another sequel time, I went and saw It Chapter 2. I was at the movies, I saw something else, and decided to make it a double because, haha, AMC A-list, and just decided to go see it Chapter 2. Even though it wasn't my favorite, I got in there and watched it, and, you know, it's at Chapter 2. Another one I have a review up for. You can check it out. Sticking with those second sequels, Paranormal Activity 2. This is another one that was streaming on Amazon Prime, and actually, I have to say, I'm going to take a moment with this one to defend Paranormal Activity 2, because it's my favorite of the series. As I was rewatching it, I'm like, yes, this is why I like this one. This is the good one. I really like Paranormal Activity 2. I think you should watch it. The first one is good too, but I like this one more, to be perfectly honest. That's just me though. A lot of people don't like this one. Another must-watch around Halloween, or any time of the year. I could watch this literally any time. I love this movie. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's so good. I know that there are multiple versions of this one, but I like the original. It's one that I just consider a perfect film. I just love it. If you haven't seen it, watch them all, but definitely watch that one. Then I saw Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell, which I almost ended up going to a special event that was like $15, and I didn't, thankfully, because the very next day, it was at the Redbox. So I was like, you try to fool me, Rob Zombie? No, you're not getting my money. You're not getting that much of my money. 3 from Hell. Oh, yeah, I didn't even have enough to talk about this to do a review on it. If you've watched House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects and you really want to see that story continue, I think it should have stayed dead, but hey, it's a movie that exists. 3 from Hell. Back to classics, Carnival of Souls is one that probably a lot of people might not have the patience for these days, not into it. It's about this chick who keeps... Carnival of Souls is weird. Next is The Omen, which is the classic creepy kid horror film from 1976. This is another one that I think is pushed lower and lower on the list of classics as we've gotten so many more new ones, but when you look back at those classic horror films, especially from like the 60s, 70s times, this is such a well-done film that I think is pretty entertaining also. I don't think it's perfect. It's certainly not as good as maybe some of the other ones. I personally like Rosemary's Baby more and The Amityville Horror more, but this is still really good. If you haven't seen The Omen, I definitely would watch it. It has some really good kills, actually. For all those classics, The Omen has the best kills, for sure. Another movie with good kills, namely that opening sequence, is Suspiria, Dario Argento's classic. I have to be honest, this is not my favorite movie. I don't love it. Why did I watch it, you might ask? I don't know. For some reason, I can't stop renting this movie from the library. I keep watching it. It's like I don't like it, but I love it. Going for something newer that was just a whole ton of fun is streaming on Amazon Prime. It is The Barn. It is a throwback slasher film. It's very low budget and cheesy, but you know what? I had a lot of fun with this one. It's just like this barn with like these 3 classic looking killers on Halloween and some teens that gotta not get killed by them. I mean, again, it's just classic sleazy fun. It's such a good time. I had fun with it. It's so perfectly suited for Halloween time, so maybe give it a watch if you're in the mood. Switching to Shudder, I watched Satan's Slaves because I've been hearing about this one for like over a year and heard so much, and you know what? It was really well done. I didn't love it, didn't not like it, but it was really interesting. It certainly goes on for a while. I definitely would have preferred them to focus on a lot of that third act stuff earlier on. However, I would say if you've got a Shudder subscription, which just get a Shudder subscription, we'll be better friends if you are, then you should watch this because it is a well done horror film and there are some scares. It might be more effective for you than it is for me, but it's certainly worth a watch. Another 80s slasher because I had to, also on Shudder, Bloody Birthday. This movie is bonkers, okay? It is so ridiculous. I loved it. Loved this one. It is about 3 kids in this neighborhood, like little kids, like, I don't know, maybe like 10-year-olds or whatever, that just start killing people. They're just killing people. And in between our regularly programmed slasher goodness, there are ridiculous scenes like car chases and just bonkers madness. Just Bloody Birthday is a must-watch. Keeping that sequel game strong, I watched for the first time Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings. And I really liked it. Probably again because it was very standard slasher. It pumped a lot of the basic slasher formula stuff into the first Pumpkinhead, which I thought rises above the slasher formula a little bit while still playing in that realm in just the right way. This one is like, no, we're going full slasher, we're doing that. But it also retains some story, I would say. I liked it, and I also liked that it had a pretty different story. I really felt like this could have been a really good sort of anthology franchise, but, you know, the good stuff never gets its due. Speaking of a movie that could use some love, Motel Hell is another just bonkers 80s horror film that if you haven't seen, you just have to see. Like, I would just not even read taglines, even no plot synopses, just I will tell you it's a motel that people die at. Then I saw Countdown because, you know, they always get me. Whichever basic studio decides to unload some crap the weekend before Halloween, you got my money. I have a review for that you should totally check out because it's so good. Then I watched Haunt, a treat from Shudder for us this Halloween, and you'll have to look out for that Shudder Day review, but I would say it's definitely worth a watch this Halloween. I went and saw The Lighthouse, which I don't even know what to say about The Lighthouse yet. I still have to go see it a second time before I can make an actual review on it, because it is just, I'll give it this. It is the most movie I have seen all year, so you have to see it for yourself. Then what I thought was really cool is they have this flashback cinema thing going on at this theater chain near me that I just have a lot of fun with, and they played A Nightmare on Elm Street. So I went and saw A Nightmare on Elm Street the first time I got to see it on the big screen. It was such a good time. I had so much fun. There was actually a good crowd there. I'm looking forward to going to more of those. But Nightmare on Elm Street, I mean, that's a classic. You don't need me to tell you to watch that. I of course followed that up with The Nightmare Before Christmas because the movie's amazing. It's so perfect. It's kind of the perfect movie to watch like on Halloween because you'll go from Halloween sort of into the Christmas season because no one cares about Thanksgiving. It's just 2 months of Christmas. But there is nothing that can get you in the mood for Halloween better than Halloween Town. I mean, all of that with Jack Skellington. I mean, you know, come on, it's classic. It's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Getting towards the end here, I then watched Child's Play, the recent remake, because I really enjoyed that movie. It was at my library, so I rented it, and I really think this is a fun little slasher film. I think that it isn't just the same exact retread we've seen before. I think it's actually a really fun technological thriller that works for today. I think it's really enjoyable and shouldn't get as much shit as it probably does just from all of those original fans, which, whatever, you'll have your fun. Once they finally get around to making that shitty TV show, you'll have that, but I like this. Next is Nightmare Cinema, because it's streaming on Shudder. You'll have to look out for that Shudder Day review, but I definitely say it's a horror film from this year. Watch it, because, you know, it's new and you gotta see everything. That's how us horror fans do. We just see everything. And lastly, for night 31, it's Halloween. I gotta watch Halloween, duh, that's my thing. I love Halloween. It's the perfect thing to watch on Halloween night. I love Halloween and Halloween 2, and I might even end up watching H2O as well, because that is my Halloween trilogy. Personally, for me, those are the ones that I love the most. That's all, folks. Halloween is a wrap. Halloween's done. It's over. It's really sad. I love Halloween. We're just gonna have to wait for next year and hope that we get a whole bunch of really great horror content until then, so that I can stuff this next watch list with all kinds of good titles. Now, you let me know what you've been watching for Halloween. What are your favorites from this list? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an awesome Halloween. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.